Hello and welcome to Give for Grizzlies. Thank you for joining us on this cold December day. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to be with us to learn more about grizzlies, the challenges they face, and how you can help. I'm Nicholas Scapolati, and I'm the Executive Director of the Grizzly Bear Foundation, and I'll be your host. I'm outdoors tonight, fireside, from the Swia, the world birthplace and territory of the Seashell people in Calipin, also known as Pender Harbor, BC. To start our special, we'd like to acknowledge the Indigenous lands we are all joining from today. To acknowledge these lands and the stewards that have cared for since time immemorial, please welcome Terry Teegee, the Regional Chief of the BC Assembly of First Nations.
Greetings, Huddy. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to welcome you all to the Grizzly Bear Foundation meeting today. I'm Terry Teegee. I'm the Regional Chief of the British Columbia Assembly of First Nations. I would like to acknowledge the important collaborative work of the Grizzly Bear Foundation to protect the continued welfare of grizzly bears in Canada and the United States. First Nations interests in conservation are based on their rights and title. These are legal rights protected and affirmed by the Constitution under Section 35. Our inherent rights predate Crown assumptions of title. First Nations have been fighting for decades to reverse the racist and genocidal policies that have seen First Nations culture, lands, and governance heavily impacted. Among these impacts is the drop in the grizzly bear populations to unprecedented low numbers in some of our territories. In BC, we have made important movement with the implementation of the provincial legislation to implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act. The federal government also passed their legislation to do the same. These are important developments that puts First Nations legal orders and rights at the forefront of laws that need changing. First Nations government will work in partnership with government and industry and to see how to operationalize free, prior, and informed consent, FPIC. First Nations bring valuable knowledge, capacity, and authority to any partnership, including for the protection of grizzly bears in British Columbia. The health of our lands and peoples are tied to the welfare of the grizzly bear. I'd like to thank the organizers, and in particular Richard Sparrow, for the invitation to speak briefly at your important event. I want to thank you all. Masicho.
Thank you, Terry. I'm so excited that we are here with you for Give for Grizzlies. Our special is going to be pretty casual, as you can see, so please sit back with a drink, perhaps some popcorn, and enjoy. I'm not the only one here. We have a whole team that's worked behind the scenes to make Give for Grizzlies possible, and I really appreciate all their help. We're here tonight together to celebrate the grizzly bear. And along the way, we're going to bring you some fascinating stories of the remarkable people working to coexist with grizzly bears in unique and ancient ways. At a time when nature and keystone species like the grizzly bear need our help more than ever, we hope you will be inspired to support our work and give for grizzlies. Our show should run about an hour tonight, and throughout which you'll hear about how you can support our work by bidding on our silent auction or by making a donation. So please visit our website at www.grizzlybearfoundation.com to view all of the wonderful items of art experiences that you can bid on tonight. To register for the auction, you'll also find a link in the YouTube description below and a link on our website. This year, Give for Grizzlies comes to you through YouTube. You can take a break when you want, you can check out the auction, just hit pause, and then please come back to us when you're ready. Since the first European settlers arrived in these lands, grizzly bears were persecuted and extirpated from most of their range. At one time, grizzly bears roamed from Ontario south to Mexico, and today their range has been pushed to the northwest of the continent. Coexistence wasn't a consideration, but times changed. 5 years ago, First Nations, British Columbians, and environmental organizations raised their voices with overwhelming support from rural and urban communities. It was clear the grizzly bear trophy hunt in British Columbia needed to end. In a major conservation milestone on December 18th, 2017, the BC government ended the grizzly bear trophy hunt. We think this is something worth celebrating.
There will be no more hunting of grizzly bears.
Hunting grizzly bears has been banned in British Columbia.
The new NDP government is ending the province's controversial grizzly bear trophy hunt.
BC government making a big wildlife announcement today, ending the grizzly bear trophy hunt.
Conservation wins don't come along that often, and when they do, they're often hard won. Congratulations to everyone who raised their voice, made a donation, and to the politicians who listened. If you'd like to recognize this milestone with a gift, check out our 5 years free bear bundle on our website. It comes with a Grizzly Guardian and a tote bag celebrating 5 years free. Ending the hunting of grizzly bears is a major conservation milestone for the welfare of grizzly bears, this iconic species, and it's the step toward coexistence, the theme of tonight. We have an amazing coexistence story to share with you now. Over the past few years, a dedicated group is working together to give orphan grizzly cubs a second chance at life in the wild. In nature, a grizzly cub's first year is the hardest to survive. And on top of that, coexistence challenges like human conflicts, car strikes, and train strikes leave cubs of the year alone without their mothers. The only chance for survival is wildlife rescue. In partnership with the Northern Lights Wildlife Society and the British Columbia government, and led by researcher Dr. Lana Trinello, the Grizzly Bear Foundation is helping give these cubs a second chance at life in the wild by bringing science to the conversation of orphan grizzly cub rewilding. Welcome back. Project Rewild is an innovative, groundbreaking, and world-leading research program, and the only program monitoring orphan grizzly cubs in North America. Not only does Project Rewild help give orphan cubs a second chance at life in the wild, it reminds us of the costs when coexistence fails. This work is so important for the welfare of grizzly bears. It's challenging and it's expensive, and at times it's emotional. Emotional work that can only be done with supporters like you. We are so close to our 2022 fundraising goal, but we need your help to ensure that Project Rewild continues. Tonight, we need your help. We need your support to protect grizzly bears, to address the threats they face, and to do the field research needed to further conservation, to engage communities in coexistence, to support Indigenous-led conservation, and to protect habitat and food sources wherever grizzly bears may roam. I'm always so moved by the generosity of others to help nature. And 100% of the proceeds raised tonight will go to further the welfare and conservation of grizzly bears. The auction has been open for close to 3 weeks now, but it closes tonight at 8 o'clock. So please when you get a chance, check out our website. Grizzlies capture our hearts and our imaginations. They are in our stories and they are in our myths. They are an iconic symbol of the wild, but they need our help. They need allies like you. Please give for Grizzlies. Work like this is made possible by generous donors like you. To continue this work, we need your help. And there's a lot of ways you can give. Some of the very generous artists, businesses, and individuals that have donated to our silent auction, we're going to talk about in a moment. The first way to give is through our online auction. The link is in the YouTube description below or at grizzlybearfoundation.com. Now we're going to run that short video on incredible artists that have donated to our auction.
Hi, I'm Di, a wildlife and nature artist on Bowen Island, British Columbia, located in the middle of beautiful Atcatsum House Sound. I am thankful every day for my life here and the wild forest, mountains, and sea that surround us. This place supports an incredible array of life, and part of my work as an artist is to communicate the importance of these species and habitats and to give back to organizations that help protect them. That's why I am thrilled to help support the Grizzly Bear Foundation in their work here in British Columbia and across North America. Thank you for your support and for your shared love of the mighty grizzly.
Hi everybody, my name's Doria Moody. I'm the Grizzly Bear Foundation board member and an artist represented by Mountain Galleries in Whistler, Banff, and Jasper. I consider myself a grizzly bear ambassador as I try to show their intelligence and their ability to coexist with humans in my large portraits. A quick story to explain my growing respect and love for these creatures. About 10 years ago, my husband Jim and I first saw grizzly bears on a trip, and I was very frightened of them, having absorbed the popular culture and scary stories about them. However, the following year, we went with Michael Audane, the founder of the Grizzly Bear Foundation, and a guide armed only with bear spray. And we sat on a log in Mussel Inlet and waited. We could see some grizzly bears in the distance, a mom and cubs. Well, to our surprise, that mom and her cubs came right by us. They walked by us about no more than 8 yards from us. And she gave us a quick look, decided we were no threat, and carried on to the river to teach her cubs how to float downstream. That was our turning point, and we return every chance we get to see these fabulous creatures. Initially, I painted bears quite small, but in 2014, I showed a couple to Gordon Smith, BC's beloved, late, wonderful artist and teacher and mentor. And he said, "Oh, you have to paint these large." So he had his helpers stretch 4x4 canvas for me, gave it to me and said, "Bring it back when you've got it finished," which I did, and I've never looked back. The painting their faces large, it seems to suit their majestic size and personalities. Every year I donate a large painting to the Grizzly Bear Foundation and 1% of my sales at Mountain Galleries. So the painting this year is called Eye to Eye, and it's sort of eyes locked with a grizzly, inspired by a photograph taken by my friend Miro Mundek up near Atlin on the Makina River. Thank you, Miro. Anyway, I hope you bid high for this painting, and thank you very much for supporting the Grizzly Bear Foundation.
Hello, my name is Matthias Horn, and I'm an artist based on the unceded territory of the Squamish Nation. My work is dedicated to shining light on important species and ecosystems in an effort to support conservation and education initiatives. I see my artwork sitting at the confluence of art and science by collaborating with environmental organizations, photographers, and scientists to provide a platform for research and education. Over 2 years now, I have worked to support the Grizzly Bear Foundation by creating paintings to help communicate and fund the importance of grizzly protection here in North America. One notable project that I'm so grateful to be a part of is an exhibit organized by the Bateman Foundation Gallery, titled Grizzly Bears, Teachers of the Land. Something notable about this collection and my own artwork is that I'll never represent grizzly bears in an aggressive way. For me, I've witnessed far too often a man conquers nature narrative throughout history, art, and even environmentalism. And I'm really interested in challenging this notion through my art by turning misunderstanding and fear into empathy and connection. In doing so, I hope to foster more awareness and support towards wildlife organizations making a difference. Collaboration is really the best step we have at making a difference in wildlife populations here in Canada. So I hope that you join me in supporting the Grizzly Bear Foundation. Let's make a difference. Thank you.
Now we're going to take a short break, check out the auction, make a donation, and when we return, we'll dive into the inspiring story of communities coexisting with grizzly bears. So stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for your support. You can make a donation until December 31st to receive your tax receipt by the end of the year, and our auction will be open until Sunday, December 11th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. At the Grizzly Bear Foundation, our work takes us wherever grizzly bears roam, and along the way, we meet remarkable people working to coexist with grizzlies in unique and ancient ways. Indigenous knowledge stretches back thousands of years. It is place-based, it's embedded in culture, language, art, and responsibility for the stewardship of nature. At the Grizzly Bear Foundation, we believe to further coexistence, we need to work through science and Indigenous knowledge. Earlier this year, our team visited the Cluckshoe River, meaning a place for fishing, located just off the Haines Highway near Whitehorse. Now we're going to travel to the Yukon to meet Elder Chuck Hume to hear how their people live off the land in coexistence with grizzly bears.
You feel connected to the whole country itself. It's part of our life, you know, what you see out there. It's our way of living, our way of surviving. And all First Nations throughout the Yukon Territory are doing the same, you know, they're protecting what's on their land. We're the First Nations elders, and they call us knowledge keepers because we're the keeper of the knowledge that's been passed down. People of a certain age inherit that because they're more like teachers now. We have to teach respect to this area, respect to the salmon. Because our people coexist with grizzly bears here, they walk amongst us, we have to teach our grandchildren, our children, the respect of bears. Sure, show. That's grizzly bear in our language, Sunshoni. That's a big bear. Grizzly bears are real sacred to our people, real sacred, and we protect them, they protect us. They teach us how to eat. We keep them around the village. So we coexist here with one another. My name is Chuck Hume, and traditional name is Kotlux. Kotlux was the Chilkat chief who originated out of Dry Bay and then came up into Cluckshoe area. We live in this area now, and we're very protective of the salmon here, and we like to keep the grizzly bears around. We live a traditional lifestyle, and the only reason the families come here now is we harvest moose, sheep, goat, gophers, rabbits, squirrels, everything. I work with the grizzlies here when they come in and spend a lot of time with them, and eventually they'll stay on the other side of the creek, and that's their domain. They know that there's going to be no harm come to them, and they'll take their fish and move over the other side. Just got to spend time with them to keep them out of the town or parks or wherever it's at. And if you don't do that, you know, people need to be trained to work with grizzlies. Okay, what I've done now is turn the electric fence line on. And I usually test them every now and then with a couple of wires. You touch one, you can see the zap on there. So they're all energized. That tells me now this fence here is bear safe. Bears respect human beings here. And I've seen up to 7 grizzlies all fishing in this short area. And they have a tendency of getting along, catch a fish. They're always wary of the big one that fishes in here also, because any one of them get out of line, he straightens them out. When I first met him, he was just got kicked out by his mother, and I seen him sitting up by the road there. He looked pretty lonesome, and so I thought, well, I'll stop and see what he's doing. And he had his legs wrapped around the soapberry bush, his back legs. He's sitting down, and he's drumming soapberries onto his lap, and then he's eating them with his paws. And he was smart that way. And just then there was a truck went by, blew his air horn, I guess, and scared the bear. And the little gaffer came loping right over by my side, almost touching my side, and I couldn't figure out, now what am I going to do? And I thought, well, I'm going to back out slowly. He seemed to follow me, yeah? As if I was his parent or something. Then I thought, well, I'm going to walk down the road towards Sluckshoe here. And then he followed me all the way down to the first cabin site. And then he kind of looked around and looked at me, and then he left, and I didn't see him the whole year till next year when he showed up here. And he was heading over towards me when I first seen him the following year, and so I thought, well, I got to use a bear banger and get him across the creek. And that's exactly what he did. He moved across the creek and stayed over on that side. But him and I have had quite a few encounters with one another here, and he's never meant no harm. So he was kind of the resident grizzly here for many years. But I was always afraid, somebody driving along the highway was going to wind up shooting him, because it is open for bear hunting season, and I finally got Champion Ajax closed this area off entirely for bear hunting, because we don't want to get rid of the big grizzlies here, because if we have nuisance ones and the younger bears, and we don't want to put up with that. We always keep the big resident grizzly within our area. And he stays, he enjoys it, he fishes. We fish, we get along. You're letting them feed, and he's letting us get our food too. So this is how we respect one another's timing. They seem to lay down in front of my little cabin there and almost lay on the porch. And, where is this guy gone now? They seem to become attached to you being around. And every time I open the door, they kind of look and say good morning or good evening or whatever it is, when they walk across the creek, they make a mistake and they beeline over. So just opening the front door, and they're gone. And they feed across the other side, they look back at me, and everything's good. So they have a sense of safety too, eh? know, I could set a chair here and be here all day watching salmon. Quite a few bears can exist in this area, and they're all grizzlies. They have their own spots, fishing times, everything else. They've got that figured out, and they will continue on as long as there's salmon here. If there's no salmon, they won't come around. And I've seen the times when there was no bears in this vicinity at all. Most of them that came in were nuisance bears because there's no fish for them to eat. And when they leave here, there's probably a couple feet of snow on the ground. So, you know, for them to get back to their denning sites is probably quite troublesome. Most of them, if it continues warming up, they will stay up the full winter, you know, just hang around this area. It was disheartening for a long time when I didn't see any salmon. You know, I didn't even feel like coming to Tlaxu. But, you know, you gotta continue battling. This area here just seemed to propel itself back up again. And I think we're happy to see salmon back in here again. So we have to, you know, abide by the salmon rules, I guess, the laws that salmon have there too. I mean, we have to follow what they do. We like to work with the Grizzlies here. We teach our families, especially our children, how to respect the grizzly bears, and by allowing the grizzlies to do their harvest as well. You're providing for your family, and you're also, you know, teaching the younger generation, you know, the respect for the salmon, the respect for the bears here. When all my kids know that they have to be away from this creek by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that gives the bears a chance to feed. I think the future of the bears here, they'll continue being here because this is their country too. And as long as there's good vegetation, no salmon, they'll always go back home. As same as thing as First Nations people, you know, we always wind up going back to our home. And that's where we stay. So we have to sit here, we have to look after our country. And it's important that we continue on. Where people will always, generation after generation, look after this area.
Thank you, Chuck. We are honored to share your story of your community's long-standing dedication to coexist with grizzly bears. We've all heard of Yellowstone and the work that's been done there for over 30 years to protect and restore grizzly bear populations. The connection between this population north is one of the most critical paths for grizzly bear recovery in North America. The next most critical path in this recovery is a little-known area that stretches from Whistler to Lillooet in southwest British Columbia. We are proud to support the work of Coast to Cascades Grizzly Bear Initiative and the First Nations working to restore this critical recovery area. Now let's travel to Pemberton, to a valley where farmers Marty and Andrea work to protect their delicious carrots while coexisting with grizzly bears in the Coast to Cascades region.
Coexistence is just understanding each other, living with the bear.
Having a better understanding of their world, looking at it through their eyes.
My parents started in the late 50s and then worked the farm and cleared it and whatever, developed it. And then the little sideline was to grow a few veggies and stuff. I guess that started mostly for the kids. And that's where the carrots came in, and then, yeah, the grizzly discovered the carrots.
Andrea Van Loon.
Marty Van Loon.
We actually see a great variety of wildlife in this beautiful valley. Almost everything that's in BC is here, surprisingly, given that we're only a couple hours from Vancouver. We have seen moose, elk, deer, cougar, bobcat, wolverine, beavers, otters.
The salmon come up in the creek.
Yeah, we have salmon spawning right here by the house, so the eagles eat them on the front lawn sometimes. I don't know if I've missed anything, but yeah, a really amazing variety. And of course the bears.
Last year we sort of had our sort of major encounter with this grizzly mom with two cubs. We were out picking carrots last year. All of a sudden, well, the grizzly was coming through the field and coming to the carrot field. And so we sort of stood up and let her know we were there out by in the field, and then it just detoured into a clover patch with its little babies and stayed there and ate for an hour or more until we left, and then we came home, and then the bear went out to try to get into the field. It wasn't fenced really well, so I don't know if did it go in the field, or I guess it did. Yeah, so it went to salvage a bunch of carrots, and yeah, so we just shared the field with her last year.
Grizzly bears have been here for as long as Marty's family has been in the valley, so long before that, obviously.
If we're attracting the bear, it's kind of our fault. I mean, this was the bear territory long before we came. This initiative came up to share the cost of an electric fencing program to keep the bear out, and yeah, we thought that was a great program to be part of. So we fenced it this year, and with the help of you guys, and it worked great, kept the bear out the whole time.
We do see her tracks going around investigating, but she has not attempted to go through that high voltage. As much as we love seeing them and are willing to sacrifice a few carrots to view them, we know that that's not the right thing. They belong in the wild, and if we can discourage her and her babies from coming here and having easy food, I think that's better for everyone.
Right out the window. It's really
right out
cool.
the window, I've seen her lay on her back and nurse her babies. Yeah, it's like having National Geographic here. It's pretty amazing. Nature and animals don't have a voice. They're just trying to raise their family like we are, and they're trying to protect them and survive. I think we've always appreciated them and respected them, but I think when you see them almost daily for a few months, you just love them more. It's unbelievable. They're just spectacular creatures.
Electric fencing as a non-lethal coexistence tool is safe and highly effective, and a practical tool to protect fruit trees, crops, and livestock, and in so doing, protect bears by deterring them from attractants like human food sources. Preventing grizzly bears from accessing non-natural attractants is essential to coexistence. Thank you to Marty and Andrea for sharing their story, and for all the other farmers in the Pemberton Valley working to coexist with grizzlies in this critical recovery area. As we move into the final segment of Give for Grizzlies, we're going to share some exciting ways for you to support the conservation economy by getting out into the wild and viewing grizzly bears close up.
Hi, I'm Taylor Green, Outreach and Communications Manager at the Grizzly Bear Foundation. I'm also a bear viewing guide, which makes me very excited to personally invite you on a journey as we embark into the wild lands of the iconic grizzly bear with Grizzly Bear Foundation Expeditions. Together we'll stay at a world-class lodge deep in the Great Bear Rainforest, dine on delicious meals, and spend our days immersed in nature, searching for grizzly bears and other wildlife. By joining us on a GBF expedition, you'll be supporting our grizzly bear conservation work. You'll receive a charitable tax receipt. So join us on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure. You'll learn more about the fascinating lives of grizzly bears, the ecosystems they roam, and how you can help protect them. Our first expedition departs in spring 2023. If you're interested in joining us, send me an email at info@grizzlybearfoundation.com. I wish you a wonderful winter, and we'll see you in the spring.
Thank you to everyone for joining us, for bidding on our auction items, and for supporting our work with a generous donation. There's still time to give and receive a tax receipt for your donation by the end of the year. Thank you to all our special guests, and thank you to our team behind the scenes, Lindsay Marie Stewart, Taylor Green, Sarah Vickruck, Richard Sparrow, and so many others. Now, we're going to close our evening with a short video that highlights some of the amazing bear viewing expeditions available through our silent auction. We appreciate you for being with us this evening and for giving for Grizzlies. We're going to take you out with a special feature of our bear viewing auction experience and how you can get yourself into the wild to view grizzly bears up close. Thank you for joining Give for Grizzlies.
My name is Jamie Hahn. I'm the founder and owner now of the Coexistence Wilderness Lodge, located here in the beautiful Coexistence Inlet.
Thank you for your interest in grizzly bear conservation. While grizzly bears are protected in British Columbia, their long-term success is not guaranteed. It's work that the Grizzly Bear Foundation, other organizations, researchers, and conservationists that will be the key to their long-term success. And why is this work important? Because we humans have had and continue to have a very dramatic negative impact on grizzly bears. Let's not forget that grizzly bears once roamed wild over most of North and West America. We have paved, plowed, mined, logged, and fragmented their habitats. We annually cause the unnecessary death of way too many bears due to human-caused food conditioning and many other conflicts resulting in death. We have had dramatic changes on our climate, causing weather changes, ocean temperature changes, and major impacts on things like our wild salmon. We have had a profound negative effect on our wild salmon. We have disregarded science-based decision-making, overfished, and driven a crucial food source for the coastal grizzly bear to near extinction. As a keystone species, if we have healthy grizzly bear populations, we have healthy ecosystems. I am thankful to have had the opportunity to work and recreate in the Gitchis territory of the Tsimshian Nation in the Coexistence Grizzly Bear Sanctuary for almost 2.5 decades. I have seen how important it is to have wild spaces where grizzly bears can roam and do what grizzly bears do. As a grizzly bear sanctuary since 1994, the Coexistence is a great example of a healthy, intact coastal watershed with a healthy and stable grizzly bear population. But even in this sanctuary, there's more we can learn and do to ensure the long-term health of the bears in British Columbia and around the world. And of course, grizzly bears have become a key part of our growing tourism industry. Bear viewing has become a sustainable industry, and this economy supports many small rural BC communities. This industry creates employment and economic benefits to many small businesses. Bear viewing allows us to have a brief but important window into a grizzly bear's daily life without impacting their daily activities. Visitors can learn just how truly gentle and intelligent these iconic creatures are. So again, thank you for your support of the Grizzly Bear Foundation and Grizzly Bear Conservation. And again, thank you to the Gitchis tribe of the Tsimshian Nation. I am grateful to live and work in your territory. Thank you.
The Great Bear Rainforest. Sacred wisdom sits here. It's a place of magic and mystery, where ancient stories blanket great valleys. Here tides dance with the moon and the sun, sweeping along the central and northern coast of British Columbia. These are the ancestral lands and the current home of more than 20 First Nations who have lived here for millennia. Bear Witness. Joined by Bear Viewing Guide and Hereditary Chief Mike Willey, we are here to bear witness to his people's connection with the land and the animals of this region.
Gila Kesla, Nubuam Ol Seaweed, Galclanlacha Muskumag Zawadeno.
Greetings, I am Old Seaweed, and I come from the 4 tribes of the Kinkum River.
Bear witness to the forest and its keepers. This is a land where animals teach humans.
Indigenous culture, especially ours, is really based on your surroundings and your connection to your environment. A grizzly bear in our culture symbolizes power and especially authority. So I always have a saying, rather than letting the authority be the truth, let the truth be the authority.
Welcome to the land of the grizzly bear.
So many feelings at once to see a grizzly bear. That's almost peaceful, actually. You're witnessing, something that's so sacred to our people in its own environment.
I'm Margley Haim from Great Bear Lodge, and I'm the lodge manager out there.
The work of the Grizzly Bear Foundation is really important to us. Like all bear viewing operators in BC, we rely on a healthy population of bears. The work that the Grizzly Bear Foundation does in terms of its research, education and advocacy is unique, and it helps ensure that BC has thriving populations of bears into the future. Great Bear Lodge is located in the Great Bear Rainforest, in the traditional territory of the Gwasil and Akwara Nation, and tours leave from Port Hardy on Vancouver Island. It's a really special place out there. We love operating a business that shows that you can have a business on the coast that doesn't need to extract resources and send them elsewhere. And the Grizzly Bear Foundation supports and promotes the place of bear viewing and the conservation economy. We're really happy to support the Grizzly Bear Foundation for this auction so that it can continue its important work. So we'd love to host you at the lodge, so come on out and see it for yourself.